All right. Well, welcome to I Am the Rebel. Daniel Patrick Welch coming to you once again with World War III on the horizon. It's Saturday, the beginning of the new year. I haven't done a show in a while. I wanted to do a short one. I'll be on live in a few hours with Sean Atwood. Later on, I'm going to hook with Solomon Kamashong. So it's a busy day, but this is crazy. What Trump just did is beyond belief, even for him, even for empire. Breaks a lot of, as I said in the thumbnail, crosses a lot of red lines, raises a lot of red flags. And speaking of the thumbnail, if you just take a second and subscribe, like and subscribe. I'm just getting the hang of this, and I don't have time to do as many as I want. And I think some people have told me that they would like to see me more, but it's a little difficult to arrange. We'll see. So this is quite shocking. We expected that this would was already in the works. Obviously the Armada, what he called the Armada. I don't think he heard of being made into a gin barrel or something. But the idea that you can surround this country and force it to do what you want, it seemed like it was from a different century, and it seemed like the Monroe Doctrine was, pretty much dead on arrival, and a silly thing to waive in open court, as it were. And with chasing the tankers and all the stuff that's been going on the past 3 weeks or so, it was a given that the U.S. was ramping up for something. Now, the thing that happened is curious. It's unfolding, so it's hard to know what is going on, how it's actually all playing out. But the headline screaming when you woke up this morning, and that's important, because controlling the narrative is what this regime, and of course all U.S. regimes, do best. That's what is an kind of a substitute for war in a way I'll get to in a minute. But what it said was that Trump has attacked Venezuela, invaded. I think I saw invaded. It's on one of them, bombing Venezuela and captured, right? Which is a bizarre thing to say about the elected leader of a sovereign state. What most of the people that I respect said was kidnapped, right? Or removed, taken. So that is a really huge thing, that this was, bombs going off all across Caracas, et cetera, et cetera. Now, there was confusion for a few hours over whether this was true, and being cautious. Obviously, you can't believe any. This is, I take from George Carlin, I don't believe anything my government tells me. Absolutely zero. Right. And I think that's an important thing to follow. But, people wanted proof. People wanted, wait a minute, is that actually true? And the Venezuelan sources that I kind of keep tabs on said, well, we'll wait and see. We don't know yet. And then fairly quickly it became clear. But what became clear at the same time was the announcement by the revolutionary government, the statement from PSUV, the ruling party, elected party, and a statement from the Minister of Defense, the Minister of Interior, and the Vice President. Now, it's really important to keep these things in mind because you're dealing with two different things. One is the domestic pressure and potential of the American president to do whatever the hell he wants, and therefore to right the wrongs that he is undergoing domestically, internally, and to dress up any narrative that he chooses, and to use the CIA's playbook. That's pretty much all you got. If you look at the Russia Ukraine narrative, the war, the Russians were in over their heads immediately, and they were going to fold, and their economy was going to go bust, and it was the worst thing in the world. All this stuff that they said and continue to churn out right away. The other day they were eating each other, right? Well, city after city is falling. Um, they were eating each other, and they've reused their chips from washing machines, everything. And what we're seeing absolutely uh, currently, like today, is the stuff from Iran about these huge demonstrations, et cetera, that aren't, you have to believe the CIA narrative in order to take these things at face value. And it's extremely important for people not to do that. So anyway, this was actually an ambush, an abduction, a kidnapping of a foreign leader, and um, the ridiculous uh, over narrative is that they're bringing him to the U.S. to be tried in U.S. courts on U.S. soil for U.S. crimes, and digging back to a 1934 act about machine guns, right? That he's guilty. This is the sovereign leader of a foreign state who is the commander in chief of his own army. So he's being uh, indicted for having machine guns. I mean, the whole thing is completely transparent and absolutely ridiculous. It is an attempt for Trump to put another W feather in his cap for Bondi, whatever she gets paid to do. I don't know. It's to tweet complete nonsense out into the ethosphere to say that this is God bless America and thank God for our brave soldiers, et cetera, et cetera. Now, there are two other questions that come uh, quickly to fore, and one is what, how did they do this so quickly? They kidnapped a foreign leader. How is that possible? And what damage is caused, and what is the concept of regime change? All of this is, you can't just sweep it under the carpet, because you know that in 2 days these headlines domestically will be done. Right? There won't be anyone talking about this. And CNN already is bending the narrative to, oh, it was amazing that they were able to do that. It's very impressive. And it's so impressive that Trump's 36% approval rating, the worst ever, is going to go up because he's the guy who got things done. And way too many Democrats, and a lot of Americans in general, will say that, well, it was something that needed to be done. It just shouldn't have been done this way. And that is an amazing sleight of hand with one's own memory, grasp of history, common sense, empathy, really, soul, grasp of their own human soul, to think that there is any reason under which it could be um, acceptable to fly in. Now, okay, now that brings up the other question: how is it done? Obviously, there is betrayal or inside working something. They had $50 million bounty on his head. They doubled it from the previous administration, which tells you something about the continuity of U.S. imperial trickery. This is an ongoing bounty on the head of a foreign government, and it's illegal and reprehensible then, and it's illegal and reprehensible now. But if what you're going to do is swing in, pick someone up like an Uber or Ice Air for taxi, reverse demigration, whatever, however you want to call it, whatever terms Stephen Miller could come up with. That is, it's not an invasion in the sense that would trigger or require a lot of fighting. There's confusion. You cut all of the power as much as you can. The CIA is good at that. And then they pick up this guy and whoosh, he's gone. But there are no troops there. There is no force stationed there except with the one that was on the coast at the beginning and still is there, I imagine, right now. Excuse me. So the question is, what did they do? Obviously, it defies belief that there was the S-300s. What about the air defense? What about the great defense of the Bolivarian Revolution? What about the people defending la patria? No se rinde, la patria se defiende. The homeland does not bend, the homeland defends itself. And that is the rallying cry of the Chavistas, and that is what is being shouted in the streets in Caracas and other cities today. Not American flags like Donald Trump is reading his own CIA's propaganda. He has to, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense at all. So the bigger looming question, who was responsible? Who was in for it? It looks like there was some inside. They had a CIA insider who gave them all the coordinates and they had a model. What he said, they had a model of his house and they had stealth drones, yada, yada, yada. It still begs the question of why there wasn't any resistance. Now, I want to break that down a little further because there wasn't any resistance to speak of. There wasn't a lot of resistance, or there wasn't the specific kind of resistance that would meet this thing that happened. Well, again, they weren't trying to overthrow a government. They weren't trying to invade a country. This is a country 3 times the size of Vietnam. They had 18,000 troops sitting off the coast. What the hell were they going to do? And that's ridiculous. You can't control what goes on in that country. You can light a few fires and apparently swing in and pick up the head guy, leaving Delcy Rodriguez, who is already sworn in as the current president of Venezuela. She's the elected second in command. And these are instructions that Maduro himself, coordinated along with the assembly, along with the party, along with his own team. And there's no change in that. I don't see. So did Maduro himself? Did he decide to surrender tacitly, knowing that, it's only going to be a couple of years? That's a very weird thing, isn't it? But how else do we explain it? You tell me. Is there any way that he had a betrayal? Sure, but there's nothing that if you had the way it's usually done, that is to say, your own people within the ranks of the military who stage a coup, then you have an order of succession. You have something happening. And I want to go out on a limb here. Oh, I'm going to close down in a little bit, just because I got this thing live coming up in 20 minutes or so. But hit me up on Sean Atwood after you subscribe below. But just and comment and do whatever you want. All that stuff that I'll get better at even saying than I am now. Maybe this is another Trump load of crap, right? There's not anyone who supports Maduro. It's going to be very bad for them because they're waving American flags in the streets. Well, this is the guy who told us with equal certainty that he had destroyed Iran's nuclear capacity, when what it was an arranged performative exercise. Right? Don't touch. We'll take the base in Qatar and we'll use that, but we'll do this and that and this and then get out. But we'll have what we say, which is we attacked your, nuclear things and it'll be over quickly. Right? And immediately they said they didn't hit anything. There wasn't anything. Now they have a massive continuation of their armament with ballistic missiles and so on and so forth. Then about this, you know how long this was? 50 minutes. People, listen to me, 50 minutes. You saw it currently running on TV longer than it actually happened. Now, what does that mean? We'll have to see. I haven't seen anything in the past few minutes. I was setting this up. So, for all I know, Delcy Rodriguez resigned, but I don't think so. This is like them thinking that they, that was a decapitation trial in Iran. They thought that if they did this thing, hit the few leaders, did this, and that would be, that would take care of itself. The thing would crumble. Nothing of the sort. And I suspect, I don't know, we'll see. I suspect that something else magical might happen in a place like Venezuela, where 20 years of grooming and training and lifting up the people in all of their cadres and committees and militia, that it won't just fall down because you took the big guy out. I don't know. Am I missing something? Is Delcy on the CIA payroll and I didn't know it? Russia and China? Are they going to give up? And just let Exxon come in? First of all, they can't do it without Russian expertise. The Russians are one of the only countries in the world that has the same kind of high silica crude, whatever it is. I don't really know, but it's hard and difficult to refine, and the Russians have a lot of experience at it. So they can, let Maduro's economy go to waste, which includes the oil infrastructure with sanctions and sabotage and everything else. But it doesn't change that they have 300 billion barrels of oil. It doesn't change the fact that it is the southern route for China for the next century. What, are they going to just stop? I don't understand why American leaders, and to be frank, American people are so naive and frankly kind of stupid about world history and current events. I just don't see, I can't see that reasoning. Why would that work? It hasn't worked anywhere. Why is it going to work now? And the other thing that's, I think, really important for us to say is to stop this, what I call BHS, but Hamas syndrome. Trump can go on and on about TDS. I hate BHS, but Hamas syndrome. The tendency of so-called leftists in America to respond to an overt, disgusting, anti-human genocide of innocent people and preface everything they have to say with "but Hamas." And the people who are trying to poke a hole are starting with that same thing. This happened with Gaddafi. This happened with Mandela. Mbida, the grandfather of freedom for South Africa, was a Soviet stooge. He was an anti-Semite. He was an autocrat. Everything they can sell. They always try. So I think, and I wish I could find this. I can't find it right now. A friend of mine wrote this one thing that I thought was really, really poignant, and makes that point clearer than I had thought of. And if I can pull it up, I know I'm really bad at this. I'm sorry, guys, but I can get better at it slowly. And this is, yes. So he said, all those who oppose war and national oppression must stand with Venezuela. There's no room for equivocation, soft legitimization of the U.S. attacks. Maduro is a dictator. Maduro is a neoliberal, etc. means standing on the wrong side of the barricades. Okay? So get your shit together in your mind. Support Maduro, support Venezuela, support the Bolivarian Revolution, support the drive to end the empire's chokehold on our lives. Be the rebel and keep it going. Talk to you next time. Thanks.